Let's say you have a favorite pair of pants you made. They have side seam pockets, but over time, the bottom of the pockets have worn out. So how do you prevent the wear and tear in that area of your pocket? Well, in today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to cover. I'm going to cover how to create a bar tack by hand, not with a machine. What's up everyone, it's Audra. Welcome back to New Heritage Wool, where I dive deep on different aspects of tailoring. I also document my personal tailoring projects here on this channel, so if you haven't checked out the first tailoring project, I'll make sure to include the link in the description below so you can go check that out. But before I get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that way you always stay up to date on what's going on here at New Heritage Wool. Now, let's get started. The bar tack is used similarly to the arrowhead tack that I showed you in a previous video. The only difference here is that the arrowhead tack is meant to be both utility and decorative, whereas the bar tack is just utility. Oftentimes we don't notice them. They're used all the time on jeans. I have a pair of jeans here so I can show you. This stitch here at the top, that is considered to be a bar tack. Also, there are bar tacks at the zipper, both here and on the side. So before I get started, I do want to show you a technique that people use that's incorrect. So some people use a stab stitch, like a really small stab stitch to create a bar tack, but that's very difficult if you're working with something like denim. If you're doing something more lightweight, it's not as hard. But the other thing is that the stitches are really hard to get even and uniform. So I don't suggest doing a small stab stitch, which I see often but don't recommend. Hey guys, I just want to pop in here really quick and tell you about my free PDF. 6 tips to begin tailoring. If you are someone who has wanted to learn how to tailor but didn't know where to start because of being overwhelmed and not knowing what supplies you need or how to improve your stitches, well, all of that is in this PDF and it's free and just for you. So the link to get that PDF is in the description below. So make sure to go check it out and let me know what you think in the comments below. So like I said, there is an incorrect way of making bar tacks, which is what I'm showing here. So instead of using the stab stitch, instead I ended up using an economy stitch, which is something that's used in embroidery. But nonetheless, it is still incorrect, and it's what I see often as a bar tack example. And sometimes people will use a satin stitch. So as you can see here, it's a little, it is quite inconsistent, and on the back side there are only stitches on the right and left, and then where of course I messed up because I was trying to do a satin stitch, but it's just not as strong. I would suggest doing it in this method that I'm about to teach you, which is basically a buttonhole stitch but with 2 guidelines. The correct way is to give yourself some guide stitches. This way, everything in the end is uniform and perfect. So let's jump into it and I'll show you what I mean. So to get started, I want to note that I'm making my bar tacks exceptionally large so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Typically, a bar tack would be roughly 1/4 of an inch long and 1/8 of an inch tall. And to get started, I'm just marking these on a piece of fabric. As always, I do things on swatches and samples before going to my actual garment or project I'm working on. Once you have your length determined, you're going to go in and put 3 to 4 base stitches in, and they're just running the length of your bar tack. So again, you'll just put 3 to 4 stitches in. I decided to do kind of a satin stitch method where I start from the top, go down at the bottom, and then come back up through the bottom, and then go back up to the top. Saying that in words seems to be very confusing, but just watch and you'll see what I'm doing. But you could also go the satin stitch route where you just come up from the top and then go down at the bottom, and then underneath you come back up through the top and keep repeating that motion. That is a satin stitch. So once you've determined the length, I'm going to repeat myself here. Once you've determined the length, and then you've got your base stitches going the length of your bar tack, the next thing you're going to do is start from the top, and you're going to begin doing buttonhole stitch. So basically a buttonhole stitch and a blanket stitch are very similar to each other. The only thing here is that it's worked on the surface of the fabric instead of an edge of the fabric. So I'm going to take the tip of my needle and go put it into the right hand side, and then come right up on the left side of my bar tack, making sure that whenever I pull the needle through, that it loops through my feeder thread. Feeder thread is just the thread going from my needle to the end of the thread. Pulling that all the way through the loop and until it is tightened onto the fabric, that is one full stitch. Now you're going to keep doing that same motion until you reach the end of your bar tack. So again, starting from the right hand side, needle going into the fabric and coming directly back up through the left side of the bar tack, making sure to loop through the thread and pulling all the way through, creating kind of what looks like a knot at the end. Once you've done that all the way through, you're going to then take your needle and send your thread to the back side of your fabric, and you'll begin to tie off. Now, I like to use a tie-off method that is looping my needle through the back threads a few times and then knotting off. So very simple, very easy, but if you have a better way that you like to tie off, do it that way. Whatever works best for you. But once you have all that done, you should have a beautiful, very crisp looking, symmetrical bar tack that will look very nice on any pocket edge or at the end of the zipper, wherever you need it to help secure and fasten down areas that receive a lot of stress. As you can see from comparing this version of the bar tack to the incorrect version of a bar tack, you can see that this one is much more uniform and it looks more professional. So I highly suggest trying this method out, and when you do, let me know what you think in the comments below. So there we have it, a beautiful bar tack. Remember that you can use this bar tack on both pockets and belt loops to make sure that they are secure and won't go anywhere with any wear and tear. But I will say, if you're doing this on denim and you're doing it by hand, make sure that you have a very sharp needle, and you probably want to protect your fingers with some thimbles. But I do just recommend using machine on denim. But if you don't have a machine, now you know this stitch so you can continue on creating those bar tacks on your pair of jeans. Hey, if you've made it this far and haven't subscribed, make sure to give some love to that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that notification bell so that way you always stay up to date with what's going on here at New Heritage Wool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. All right, time to clean like crazy so I can fly home tomorrow.